It takes an effort to do that, to bring these.
You doing?
Hanging in there.
I don't remember. It's the
Okay, huh?
clearly.
That for time.
Bad. Well, perfect timing.
That'd be at 10.
Wow.
10 past, I mean.
Worked out.
Okay, we're gonna salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we have some announcements. Well, Compton has been restored. I always use the microphone. Yes, I do. Announcements. Little Compton has been recertified as storm ready community with the National Weather Service Program. Little Compton Police Department has received accreditation for the Rhode Island Police Accreditation Commission. Those are our two announcements. So a motion to approve the, do we want to talk about them? Go ahead.
I do not. I wish to make one other announcement.
I'm sorry.
That is that this meeting is the last meeting in which the town administrator, who has been with us for more than 6 years and who I find to be a faithful servant, is going to be departing. And I would just like to say congratulations on making it to 6.5 years.
One time.
No. Just a big thank you.
Have a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve minutes as written unless anybody would like to discuss them.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No department head reports. Full business one. Consider appointment of an individual to serve on a Little Compton Agricultural Conservancy Trust with a term expiring July 1st, 2030. Additionally, receive letters of support for Ned Levine incumbent. Do I have a motion?
Well, I think everybody's quiet because the two applicants, I was pretty blown away by Taylor Johnston, how knowledgeable she is.
Sorry.
So I'm not ready to make a motion yet.
I'll make a motion for Ned Levine. Do I have a second?
I will second that motion.
Discussion. Any discussion?
It's just a very difficult decision, especially since we've just gotten a chance. This is the first time I've met Taylor. This is the first time I've gotten the chance to talk with Taylor, so it's very difficult. It's a decision to make so soon after having spoken with both of them, but I just hope that if this passes, that Taylor does not get I don't want anyone to feel like they can't keep showing up and keep speaking out and keep being involved. I think it's so important that we have citizens in the community that step up the way that Taylor has today and pay attention like so many of you do. You know, I look out at this audience and see so many people that show up to just about every single meeting. And it makes a big difference when people show up because it affects the outcome of everything that happens up here. So I just want to say that, prefacing the vote.
I would like to echo that and say that it's not easy to step up the way Taylor just did and, be kind of brave and step out against an organization that's as established as the Ag Trust and has done as much good as the Ag Trust, but also it takes a certain amount of bravery to say the things that she said. So I really appreciate that. And I agree, this is a very difficult decision, not straightforward at all for me.
So I have to echo my brethren council. There are some people on the trust not very pleased with that seem to think all they want to do is buy up as much land in town. They're in town now. They haven't been in town that long, but now they want to control the town. But I don't think Ned Levine is one of those people. Oh, he's not. So I would have to vote for Ned, but Taylor, please, I'm gonna have a chat with you afterwards, okay? I'm gonna give you a call.
Taylor's a star, we all know it.
He's one of the most refreshing applicants we've had in a long time.
Motion on the table, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing any. Thank you. Old business 2, receive letters of interest and appoint a 7-member town comment needs assessment committee.
I'd like to say a few words on this if I could.
Okay,
We had excellent applicants and many of them, so I think the decision again is going to be a bit of a hard one because we'll have to say no to a couple of great candidates. But I'd like to go down the list of 7 people that I think would be excellent on this committee, starting with Sal Marinosi, who has over 60 years of building and construction experience, an active member of our community and a respected voice in town. Warren Jagger.
Victoria,
Yes.
would you mind if we voted on them one at a time right now?
I was hoping to go through my list of 7 and then make a motion to move the 7, but we can then discuss it after the motion if that's okay.
Sure.
Warren Jagger, who serves on the Historic Preservation Advisory Committee, has experience with adaptive reuse, was the former president of the Providence Preservation Society, and is an active community volunteer. Bill Terrio, who is the president of the community center, decades of service to our town, and served on our budget committee. Galen Snow, founding member of the community center and president of the original board of directors, who oversaw the Grange Hall's conversion into the community center. Sid Wardell, decades of public safety experience, owner of multiple properties on the Commons and a lifelong resident. Travis Audie, parent of a Wilbur student and coach, chairman of the school committee. I believe the school is a critical stakeholder and a butter. He served on the Commons Review Committee. And I think Travis would have the opportunity to explore the possibility of getting some state housing aid, which could be 35% match on some of these projects potentially. So I think that's really vital. And then lastly, Suzanne DeSallo, who has 30 years working in architecture, recently working on a senior center in Massachusetts, and is an active member of the Odd Fellows. I think that these 7 people have the experience, skill set, and the temperament, importantly, for the work of this committee. And it will be challenging work because they have to balance the needs of buildings, various groups, lots of opinions, and limited financial resources. So if I could put that in the form of a motion, my motion would be to appoint Sal Marinosi, Warren Jagger, Bill Terrio, Galen Snow, Sid Wardell, Travis Audie, and Suzanne DeSalvo.
Second.
discussion.
Well, I think Ara Sendinance did a wonderful job chairing the DRC committee. And I agree with Bill Terrio. For some reason, I didn't get anybody, Susan DeSalo or Galen Snow's application. I just got, I got 8 or 9. I didn't get them, so.
One was emailed to you during the week and the other one was provided here tonight.
Oh, well, I didn't see the one tonight. Warren Jagger, I'm not really familiar with it. Is he a full-time resident?
I believe he also has a place in Providence.
It's not, yes.
Well, I would like to see our Sandinese at least get in.
If I might, I have an opinion that the elected chair of the council and the school committee are not appropriate appointments to a committee such as this. Both of those people particularly in this case as abutters, or at least the chair of entities abutting the commons, would have an independent and different input. And I acknowledge that Travis, for example, could have great influence in terms of what he might do. I would suggest that he not be part of a committee that's appointed by the town council as the sitting chair of the school committee. That's an opinion that's not based in law that I'm aware of. And I don't need an opinion. Thank you.
Any further discussion? I have a motion on the table. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
3 ayes and 2 nays. It passes. Thank you. New business, set salaries and benefits for the fiscal year 2026 and authorized longevity payments. Have a motion?
Motion to approve is written.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. You are taking into account that I gave you a revised version on your desktop before you sat down. Just one correction to the part-time. I want you to understand that before you cast your vote.
Yeah, I have. Thank you.
I want to make sure you understand what you're voting on.
Yep, got it.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not seeing any. Thank you. New business 2, letter from Ted Boddington, DBW Director, recommending the council either suspend or terminate its agreement with Black Earth Compost due to financial considerations. Did receive a call from Counselor Talbot. You did some research after your vacation on this? In depth?
I did, just because I was pretty unfamiliar with it and I wanted to be read in before this meeting. So I did do some research on
Happy
that
to,
this morning.
happy to slide it over.
Well, I wanted to, just understand what the net was on it. And it seems like there is a cost for the composting and hauling away the totes right now, which are four totes every 28 days. And that costs the town $215 per ton. There is an offset credit because we're not putting it in the landfill as solid waste. And that offset is $63 a ton. So the difference, the cost to the town is $152 per ton approximately. I looked at the first 6 months of the calendar year and projected that repeating for the second 6 months. And that would cost the town for this calendar year, not fiscal year, $2,736 if we stick with the 4 totes per pickup. So that's the sort of nuts and bolts of the numbers as I could understand it. I also went back and reviewed the former town council meeting minutes and presentations and other documentation that we have on it to try to understand if the council was hoping that there might be more of an offset from the landfill, and it doesn't seem that way. So I think it's really comes down to a question of how much we value the program and if we think it's worth $2,700 a year.
Well, hold on. Ted?
The original letter I gave you, I updated.
Can you please speak into the microphone? You're not reflected back here. No.
Better.
No.
Do
Hello?
you have a green light in front of you on the dash?
Yes. No?
You want a green light?
Green. Yeah. Well, it's not as far as that. It's,
If there's a light,
oh, there it is.
Now lean in.
There you go.
Hey.
but you don't have to lean in, and I say that to the council president as well. You do not need to be right on top of it. Just have it aimed towards you, please.
I've updated the numbers that I had put on the letter that I sent you, with Patsy's. See, what's in yellow is, as of this past Friday.
That's different.
Yes, that the audience can't hear you, so just hand these and go back to the microphone.
Is that different, Ted, than we have in our packet?
Evidently, the answer is yes. That's what he just said.
What, that way?
The difference between this and what I put in the packet is I just added the corrected numbers as of this past Friday collection. But currently so the total weight collected in calendar year 2024 from May until the end of the year was 8 tons. Total weight collected calendar year 25 as of June 27th, this past Friday, is 8.91 tons. For a total of 17.73 tons. Rhode Island Resource Recovery currently charges $63 per ton for solid waste disposal. Times the 17.3 tons is equal to $1,116.99. Wilcon has been billed to date for this service as of June 27th, $4,217. It's currently 3.77 times as much to dispose of the compostable material, black earth compost, as it would to send it to the central landfill. I bring this up for discussion because of the cost. I've known from day one that this was a lot more than what it actually costs to send the landfill. Environmentally and morally, it's probably right to do this. Fiscally, it's not, in my opinion. Recommending that we either suspend or terminate the agreement, and this would be just for a temporary period. Whether we can renegotiate the contract, I don't know. Can we come up with another solution? I don't know. I haven't really been able to find or come up with a different solution for this. But I did it for the council to take it into consideration.
Can I add something from my work on this morning also? I put in calls to the two women who are listed as the coordinators for this program, Jean Grobe and Rosie Warburton, to find out more information and to find out whether or not we could renegotiate a contract, if that was possible, to let them know that this was on our agenda to discuss and that we're considering whether to continue the program or not. I left messages for both of them and did not hear back. So that's an open question as whether or not they can give us a better rate. And the other piece that was brought to my attention by Martha, because she pays very close attention to these things, is that the school also has a relationship with Black Earth, and it's separate from ours and the finances are separate, but there is that happening. And then there are private citizens in town who have the relationship with them too. And I don't know if we, terminate the municipal contract, whether or not that has a carryover impact on whether or not it's feasible for them to continue with the school or the residential customers. So I feel like there's still a lot of questions on this. So I'm not sure I'm comfortable to make a vote on it tonight, but that's what I know and that's what I can share.
Anyone else from the council? Not seeing any. Do we have someone standing? We have hands. Whoever makes it there first.
Brittany Gadsden. I sent my thoughts down. It can be of no surprise that I oppose the proposal to suspend or terminate the contract with Black Earth Compost. I personally worked very hard on initiating the pilot, participating as a residential customer, promoting it every opportunity, and especially putting together the mailer about composting for every resident in Little Compton that went out in August last year. And I've been monitoring the use of the compost bins, watching them fill up with compostable waste from our residents and making sure we have added additional compost bins. In the last year, we went from 2 initially to 4. Black Earth Compost picked up 8.5 tons in 9 months last year and 8.9 tons in the first 5.5 months. So we doubled the amount of compost that we picked up in the last year. The issue is that the cost of having Black Earth Compost pick up the compost is not offset. Thank you, Victoria, for your research. not upset, and will take time for the town's residents to become composters. I think the biggest challenge is that the amount of compostable waste that is picked up by our haulers and thrown into the trash bins that we truck to the Rhode Island Resource Recovery Center. I believe we should work with them, our haulers, to set up a system that incentivizes them to take out, take one more step in separating the trash they pick up. Currently, they pick up bags of trash, bags of bottles and cans, and cardboard. And how can we encourage them to somehow pick up compost as well? And there's some citizens here tonight who would like to have compost picked up, but Black Earth compost currently doesn't go below Patton Road. So we don't have enough mass for it to make sense for them to go further. So what I recommend is we create a composting committee to study alternatives to what are the alternatives? The Food Council, I've been in touch with them. They did they came and met with Tony and I actually, and we're very impressed with that for we get as a small municipality in terms of putting a composting program together. But I think the most important thing is that we do have a very strong composting program in our schools. The students currently take their trays up, put in their compost. They pour water into a container. They put packaging in one container. They have disposable trays. But this past year, they got a grant for $134,000 for environmental purposes. And they bought a dishwasher so that now instead of disposing of a lot of plastic, they are washing dishes and have reusable utensils. So I just think it's a wrong message for us to have these kids go home to their parents and not have the parents able to take their compost to our transportation. So really, my recommendation is that we put together a committee and discuss this, certainly not to suspend it. I don't think it makes any sense for us to pull the plug when we have residents going to the transfer station. And it's only going to become stronger as time passes.
Thank you.
I will say one other thing. I have 109. I have 81 plus signatures from a petition that I circulated over the last couple of days. And I was notified by Michelle McGaw of the fact that this was going to be on the town agenda this evening, which motivated me to start the petition. And in talking with our residents, one, people would be devastated if it wasn't available to them. Two, people are not aware that it's there. So I think we need better signage. I have a resident who's willing to pay for better signage. I can make that happen. And then again, that there are people who want to compost and they can't do Black Earth compost because of the of their current where they pick up.
Thank you.
Now, Lavinia, is there any way, if you research whether the farmers can use this at all?
Oh, and by the way, Liz Peckham has Black Earth pick up compost from her because she doesn't want her dogs, fishing the bones and the fish and the stinky stuff that people don't put in their backyard. That's another response I get from a lot of citizens. I compost already, but there's a lot of the bones, the lobster shells that you don't put in your backyard compost that you want to take to the town compost.
Would you be willing to head this committee up? Seems like you, that's what generally happens.
To help us.
Is there someone else who wants to speak? Thank you, Lavinia.
Yeah.
Hi, Bonnie.
Bonnie Penny. Ted, I didn't feel bad because I remember a couple of years ago, or 3 years ago, we were behind the library. We had a conversation and you were very pro compost.
I still am.
Which I appreciate. I understand you said it's difficult to be in the position that you're in because you have to deal with the finances and everything else. I think my opinion would be, as opposed to cutting the program, giving it some more time and just marketing the hell out of it. You know, just promote it, talk about it, put signs up, and let people know that this is in fact available, especially the summer people. This is available. And to me, that would take care of the problem. It's already doubled, right? And we doubled the tonnage in a year period of time. So that's amazing. So I say we keep it up. And respectfully, it's a couple $1,000s, so God knows what the situation we're in now, every dollar counts. But I think for the small amount of money, relatively speaking, I think in another year or two, we'd have Friday, the opposite direction. And it would certainly be financially feasible. So,
Thank you, Bonnie. Anyone else in the audience? Abigail?
If I may, stand up here, not as the Public Works Director, but as a, former town council member, one of the private trash haulers in town. And I am a huge advocate of composting. I think several of you know, many people in the audience know that I started doing TED Talks trash box that the library came up with that idea, by the way. Back in 2018. 30% of all household trash is compostable material. I figured out roughly that if we could get a true 30% of that compostable material out of our trash, we would have gone over our cap by 1.5 tons. We could save in that first year close to $50,000. That's fiscal year 2018. I haven't done the number. I have done the numbers since, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. That cost included not only tipping fees, but also the cost of trucking. Every load that leaves the transfer station, we now pay almost $300. That adds to the cost of it. And I've been a huge advocate of this. I've tried to find a way that I could do a compost pickup with my business. I can't find in my head a way to do it properly. To me, it would require a second route. In other words, it couldn't pick up the compost at the same time as we pick up the trash, just because we don't have the compartments in the trucks. And the other hauler, Steve Ruder, I don't think he's in any different boat because his trucks are the same as mine. And that's, I mean, I look at this from a dollar value for the town in my position as Public Works Director. And I haven't been confident in this particular program. I know we need to compost, but I just don't know what's the best way to do it.
Thank you. Anyone else? What's our pleasure here, Council?
Take this as notification of a possible resource as we work the financial problem over the next month or 2 or 3, and then decide whether this needs to come back to us as a solution and a source of revenue. Would be my suggestion.
I would echo that, and I'm not sure who the proper person would be to assign it. Maybe Victoria, maybe the DPW director, but maybe we wait to hear back from Black Earth Compost and see if there's any wiggle room there. We've been with them for a year now, so maybe they're willing to strike a little bit of a deal while we continue to get the word out there about the program and keep building it up. So it, evens out a little bit more, and then we can renegotiate after that and go back to the regular rate.
Lavinia, would you want to keep working on this? Maybe come up with this committee that you brought forward and try to, and we're all sorry about that. So, but maybe try to find another solution to get rid of that compost,
Yes.
possible, and bring it back to the council in a month or so. Thank you.
So is there anything to add to this compost?
No, I think you're on the right track.
Thank you. Anyone else? Do we need a vote?
It would be a good idea.
All right, do I have a motion?
To move to hold off on any, table the matter for 3 months
So a second on the table.
and hopefully have Lavinia come back with some more information in a couple of meetings from now or a month and a half, whenever she can get back to us on what she found out.
Thank you, Gary. I have a motion for a table and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you.
Thank you.
3, letter from Ted Fodington, DPW Director. Proposing the town consider raising the cost of the transfer station stickers substantially to help compensate cost of operating and maintaining the facility. I would just say, Ted, thank you for that. And it's been brought up many times, in many years. Being one of 5, not the year for it. I'm thankful for the townspeople for voting for the 12%. The last thing I want to do is raise their dump sticker. That's just my opinion.
Well, this certainly has come before many times, and you do get a senior population come out. They think $5 is too much for a sticker, but I mean, I agree this isn't the year for it. But I think at a minimum, maybe next year we can go up to the $30. And by doing that, it would be the individual paying the $30. In the overall scheme of things, would actually cost less because the tax is that you're not gonna pay is gonna offset. My opinion.
Here's a long time, so we'll see how that goes. I'm gonna make a motion not to increase the stickers for the dump. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second discussion from the council.
I
Anyone else?
want to just jump in and thank Ted for this and actually the last thing on the compost, because I think it just shows that he's looking for efficiencies and cost savings in his department. And obviously we need that. So I appreciate the heads up. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
I could agree more with that. I think Ted's doing an outstanding job for us.
Do have a comparison, you put it already? Or
No, we haven't.
Almost did.
have some comparison here of some other around cities and towns, if you're interested. And pass it out to all of you. That is,
Can we talk it out loud? Because we don't get the paper.
okay, well, in my letter, I gave some examples of what I wanted to raise the sticker price, and I know.
And what were you proposing to raise it to? Oh, you get it, cowboy.
The reason for, the 2,350 stickers, issued in 2 most recent years. Times $110,000 would be a revenue of $258,500, which is approximately $1,200 over what transfer station budget is. I gave that as an example in my recommendation. However, I gave a couple other examples. $55 a sticker would be $129,000, $158. $30 sticker would be $70,500. There are options that we can do. Offer senior citizen discounts or discounted second sticker. No, I don't know how many of the stickers to give out. People want 2 stickers. I did a comparison past couple of days of other cities and towns. Portsmouth being the most expensive, $290 a sticker, plus pay as you throw. In other words, you buy the bags at $10.75 a roll. Westerly, this is an interesting one. It just came up. I called Westerly today to ask them what the cost of the transfer station sticker was. And originally, she said, well, they're free to residents, but there's a $50 surcharge that they get in their tax bill. As of tomorrow, new ordinance goes in effect. Westerly residents will pay 6 cents per thousand of assessed property value in their tax bill. So if you have a small house, a small value, you pay a lot less for your sticker. If you have a multi-million dollar house, you pay a lot more. Then once you pay that in your tax bill, then you get your sticker at no cost through the public works. And then as you throw, you have to buy the bags. So the range, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 different cities and towns that actually pay for your stickers. Goes from just pay as you throw versus pay as you throw plus stickers. And they, like I said, $290 for Portsmouth, Jamestown, 170, Exeter, 190. West Greenwich is $100 for a 2-year sticker. It's prorated, so if you buy the sticker from the second year of that 2-year period, it's 50, and then in the last 6 months, it goes down to 25. There are just, a number of different ways that different cities. My reasoning, but the cost of running a transfer station, trucking and tipping costs, as well as maintenance on the equipment, has continually increased over the past 15 years. The amount of stickers that we sell now brings in about $11,750. It certainly doesn't cover anything like that. We're on the band up there. I don't have enough people to monitor what's going on. As soon as the guy walks away from one station, people are dumping everything they're not supposed to do in the station, which is fine. Goes on and on all the time. There are just, a while to talk about this, but yes.
Well, do you mind? I just want to say, I think, just to respond quickly.
Sure.
Yeah. I think this is a really good exercise to have, looking at what other communities are doing, because we've done the same thing in Little Compton for a really long time. And it doesn't seem like much has changed at the transfer station. We've done small things here and there. We've got the composting now. But the root of the issue, I think, is still the fact that we pay the most money for not for transportation, but for disposing of the general trash. We don't pay for the recycling and some of the other materials that are disposed of at the transfer station. So I think it's not fair to someone. I'm sure Lavinia goes down and has 3 bags of recycling for the paper, 3 bags of recycling for, the plastic, and maybe 1 bag of trash that goes into the general trash compactor. When other people come down and they just throw everything they have into the trash compactor, and that's where we're spending the most money. So I think that if we're going to have that conversation, I think we need to look. I like the bag idea. People are going to throw trash in, they have to have a special bag or something, because I think we need to incentivize people to divert things from the general landfill and more into the other areas that we don't pay as much money to get rid of the rubbish. So
Multiple times I've been up there. Well, it just all goes to the same place. What they don't understand is, I don't care if it goes to the same place. When you put it in that bin, it costs us $63 a ton. When you put it in that bin, it's free.
Ted, I'm gonna get 2 hands up. I got 1 guy with a hand. I go 2, 3. I'm gonna go with Locke. I'm gonna go with Locke. Sal, you're 2. Lord, you're 3. Ryan, you're 4.
So first of all, I'm not going to talk about solar.
and I'm not gonna talk about housing. I'm sure it's very unpopular. But the financial situation in this town makes it clear to many of us that steps need to be taken to balance the budget. This might be an unpopular. Asking people to pay $30 a year for their stickers seems to me and to a lot of people that just one part of a substantial effort that this town needs to get back into financial health. And I personally am in favor of $30. And by the way, if we don't start now, you're not going to be able to do it on January 1st when it's necessary. So even though there are other ways to reduce the burden to the people who may not be able to pay for it, and there are a lot of those ways that need to be considered quickly. But the financial situation, if we want to do anything with a capital budget anytime in the next 5 years, the town is going to have to take serious financial steps to make things better. Thanks.
Thank you. Sal?
Yeah, I'd like to
Go
know,
to the microphone anyway.
I don't,
People on TV can't hear you.
It's true.
exactly something. Sal Marinozzi, I would, Ted could probably, let us know about that. I'd like to know what the commercial people do. We have contractors, we have waste haulers, how are they paying for trash, dumping there?
I can answer that for you. They're not allowed anymore.
On the two.
It's not allowed. Only residents can bring construction type debris of stuff that they've done the work personally. No contractor work can be brought in.
Nothing?
No.
Okay, thank you. That's very important. And, I'm gonna reiterate what Mr. Locke said. I personally would like to see something done this year. I'm not gonna tell you how much to do, but again, we should at least recoup what it cost us. So we're not taking away from something else. And I recommend that wholeheartedly.
Ryan's up. Andrew Ryan. Better get to the microphone.
Thank you, Andy Ryan, 40 Pagersburg Road. I think it's a good idea that we have a very in-depth conversation with our public works official at the budget committee meeting. I don't recall a public works discussion previous, but it seems like we have somebody who's got a lot of good ideas about how to rethink our budgeting around and cost and revenue. I would say that I think it makes sense to think about charging more per sticker, but I would beg you not to nickel and dime people in this town. Right, I understand the reason to go with the bags because it reduces how much people can throw away. But if you spend much time at the transfer station, I go every week. It's nice to be able to get rid of things that don't fit in bags and all kinds of other things. I just don't think people in town would appreciate being nickel and dime. So if you want to charge me $30 or $50 for a sticker, I think that's okay. But don't ask me to put things in bags or something like that, right? I think having services like composting is a great idea because it lets people use that. But I would ask you not to nickel and dime people in the town. The other thing I would ask you to look at is how many people are dumping things that do not live in town and have stickers. Right now, the place is pretty wide open. And, you know, it's impossible to ask those employees who are sitting there trying to monitor people to also really check people's stickers. I just put my sticker that I bought that we got earlier in the year on my car the other day after just wondering if anyone would ask me about it. No one asks, right? And I would say you shouldn't put it on the employees down there to check, but we do have a police department and they certainly could write some really huge fines for illegal dumping if it was, because I think it's illegal if you show up to town and you're dumping waste into that we're paying for. And that would probably generate some revenue and maybe reduce the incidence of it. You could also put a camera that monitors people's license tags and see if you have a sticker, but you could do lots of things to make sure that people are actually using that properly. And then I would just really encourage our Department of Public Works head to come to the budget committee, and we'll spend quite a bit of time maybe this year talking about how to allocate costs and things correctly. And then I do agree that you probably need to increase it this year though, some amount, because if you want to increase it another next year or try to get it up to a reasonable amount, probably need to go a little slow in the town to do that too. Otherwise, people will lose their minds over a $20 or $30 increase in a sticker that allows you to take what you want to the transfer station and get rid of it without any hassles.
Thank you, Right, Lord.
Hi, Roger Lord, Brandon Cross. You know, a number of years ago, and I don't remember how many, Ted brought the idea of dump stickers. And at that time, I objected to it. And I said it was just another tax. And I also predicted at that time that at some point in the future, it would become a cash cow. And that appears to be the future. That's where we're heading from what I could hear. Now, I'm not sure a lot of people are probably going to be hurt by the tax increases as a result of our financial town meeting. We raised it 12%, the levy 12%, which is about 1% over what the original intent was. We went up to 12%. This is going to hurt people that are on fixed income or just don't have a lot of money. And now to come up with these fees for a dump sticker is going to make it even worse for these people. Now, you say, well, there are a lot of people that don't use the dump. Okay, fine. There are a lot of people that don't have kids in school. We still pay taxes for that, no matter what. So I would like to see either keep things the way they are now, or let's be reasonable about how much we raise it. You know, going from $5 to $30 to me is an outrageous percentage. And what Ted is suggesting, $110, even outrageous. So my suggestion is keep things the way they are, and let's think about it a little bit more until we put people in financial stress that don't have the money to afford this.
Thank you. Anyone else? The first one, I got more.
I just want to say that in the course of talking to people about composting, I asked them what they felt about paying more for their sticker. Unanimously do it. I don't find anybody objecting to it.
Have a motion on the table. Carol, don't I? And a second.
Can I make a comment before I say it?
Absolutely.
Okay. I fear that you're seeing numbers of stickers and equating that to a dollar amount and an automatic amount of money you're going to receive. People that come in to get those stickers in my office, because they're not spending a lot of money on those stickers, will get one for their car, for their son's car, for their wife's car, for the extra SUV. So you've got some families that get 4 or 5 stickers. If you start raising that, you're not going to have, they're going to choose one vehicle and they're going to pay for one vehicle. So your revenue that you're projecting is not accurate. So please don't look at that and say, if I put it to 30, or if I put it to 50, or if I put it to 110, that equates to an exact amount of money, because it's not going to. You're going to have people not get as many transfer station stickers. So your revenue is not going to be as great as you hope that it will be.
Thank you, Carol. I have a motion on the table.
You do. It's here somewhere.
Would you like to repeat it?
Let's see. It was not to increase the transfer station stickers at this time.
Would you like to talk about this again?
Could the sticker be attached to the address?
It's attached to the vehicle.
What I'm saying is would they have to have just one sticker per address as a resident rather than to the vehicle? In other words, for instance, I have 5 stickers, but I don't use them all. But if we had one sticker, if I had 5 stickers, but they were all attached to just my address, it wouldn't matter.
But they are attached to your address. You
But-
cannot get a transfer station sticker without residing here in.
I know, and you wouldn't charge for, if somebody had multiple stickers and two people lived in one address, you would only charge them for one sticker instead of for two, but give them two stickers. That's what I'm saying.
I don't see how that would help, in my opinion.
Coordinate with the address.
Thank you for that. Any other further discussion from the council? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Not seeing any, it passes. Consideration of a proposed contract for interim finance director and receive comment from the solicitor. Do I have a motion? I'll make the motion. Do I have a second?
Now what?
Yeah.
I would make to receive, you said received? All right, to receive, no motion. Solicitor,
Did everybody get the original contract or no?
The one that you sent this afternoon, they all have a copy of that. With the red
Yeah,
changes, they all have that.
okay. You know, I gotta tell you, I actually regret my original comments to the council president. Because I'm looking at it, based on the amount of hours that are gonna be worked and the fact that it's a one-year contract, I think what you have before you, is warranted and you can go with what you have.
I'll make a motion to do it.
I need clarification, because what I have in front of me is not a one-year contract.
My understanding it is.
3 years.
Nope,
It's 3.
3 years. That's what was sent.
Typo.
As is typical of these contracts, it specifies only the first year's salary. Is that perhaps what you mean?
No.
No, it's right.
Duration of agreement,
28.
3 years.
All right, what do you want to do with it, Carol? Do we need to wait 2 weeks?
No, we just need it clarified,
So
what his intent is.
let's clarify the date.
One we have in front of us.
Not to mention the fact that it's got the wrong name on it now that I look at it. And it should say interim because that's what you hired him as.
I'm sorry.
Did they send the wrong one?
Yeah, may this be held?
Yes,
Because he's working now anyway, correct?
starts tomorrow.
Yeah, I prefer that you have the correct copy. I'm sure Mr. McNamee, will be working on the terms that we have, but this is not correct. I beg your pardon.
Okay. Table.
I would like to have a motion that you're gonna hold it until the July 10th hearing.
I'd like to make a motion to hold the interim finance director's proposed contract till July 10th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Board of Licenses requests the Connor Preservation Association or Class F one-day retail beverage license. Its annual meeting to be held on July 23rd, 2025.
Motion,
The community center, 34th.
motion to approve with all, state and local ordinance adhered to.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Communications application from McCray Seafood, DBA Del's Lemonade for a mobile food establishment license for mobile lemonade cart.
Motion to approve with all state and local ordinances adhered to.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. 2, requests received for Stephen K. Ruder Lawn and Landscaping to renew a license.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Letter received from town clerk on June 23rd, 2025, from Bill Ryan resigning from the Little Compton Beach Commission effective June 23rd, 2025.
Motion to accept with regret and ask that the council president write a letter of thank you to Bill Ryan for all the service he gave to the beach commission.
I'll second that, and I will just I'll repeat, except with resignation of Bill Ryan, an outstanding individual. He served with me on the Recreation Committee for almost a decade, and I have the utmost respect for him. I wish him well. Anyone else want to say anything about Bill Ryan?
I'd just like to jump in and thank Bill. It says here that he served on the Beach Commission since December of 1991. That is pretty remarkable and impressive public service. Bill's a great guy. He's one of the first people I met when I came to town in the 1990s. I didn't know very many people and I certainly didn't have any family here. And he welcomed me into his home and made me feel like family. So he's a shirt off his back kind of guy. And this is testament to him. So thank you, Bill.
Bob, did you want to say something?
It's been said, thank you, and well.
We need a motion for that, Carol. Receive that. Motion.
There is one already.
Aye.
Thank you. Consent?
Motion to place consent calendar on file unless anybody wants to pull anything for discussion.
Second.
Poll 6. Copy of the email exchange from George Kroll to the town clerk withdrawing his name as a member of the budget committee. I want to thank George Kroll for his almost 30 years on the budget committee and his public service. And I know that he does a lot for the church Andrew by the Sea. I know that he genuinely cares for people and especially children, which I find very redeeming, and I wish him well. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'd like to concur with that, Patrick, that he served through a lot of ups and downs on the budget committee. This last year was definitely a down, but there was a lot of years where he did an excellent job, kept the budget very low, and did the whole town a great service. So I'm going to miss him.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Payment of bills.
Motion to pay the bills is written.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion to adjourn. Yeah, you can come up.
So Andy Rogers, the former chair of the budget committee, gave me a document that has the back taxes for, the town of $850,000 unpaid. And so I've spent the last few weeks kind of just glancing through this, and it's shocking to me to see, all of these unpaid taxes, many of which are vehicles, and I can't remember when we had a vehicle tax.
So Andy, that's not on the agenda.
I know it's not public comment, but that have to be on the agenda.
We don't have public comment here, written on the thing, on our agenda. Solicitor, tell me what I gotta do here.
I prefer it if you didn't comment on it, because that's substantive, what you're getting into.
Right.
I can address it with you,
Sure.
but I don't think it's appropriate to bring it up at this stage of the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a motion to adjourn.
It's being addressed by the solicitor, believe me.
So a motion to adjourn.
Oh.
Have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Farewell, Bonnie.